port of Thessaloniki traditionally was a main hub for the South and East European countries and the Balkans in particular. Well, and this means that two things. First of all, that it has an important role, particularly in the exports of this country, as well as for servicing the neighboring countries and particularly landlocked the former Yugoslavic Republic of Macedonia. To this end, I think that this port really adds value to the Greek economy and also adds value to the neighboring countries. In that sense, the privatization and restructuring of this port has an influence and a spin-over effect to the economy of northern Greece. We need and we try to have a close link with the financial and business stakeholders of the area. This is the first thing. The second thing is that we need to help and seek to have cooperation in developing what we call spin-off activities like processing and logistics in the area. The port of Piraeus is a big port, a very big port after the presence of COSCO, of the Chinese of COSCO, which has two kinds of activity. First of all, serves mainly through imports the greater Athens metropolitan area, which is even more than 50% of the population of the country. And on the other side, serves transshipment traffic, which is the lion's share of its traffic, actually. And that's why it has grown substantially within 3 years, based on the strategic decision of the Chinese operator. Whilst the port of Thessaloniki has a different structure of its market. First of all, it's a port that serves northern Greece, and particularly the exports of the country through northern Greece. This is the biggest export port in the country, which is very important for obvious reasons. And at the same time is a transit port for the Southeast Europe and Balkan countries, which gives a different idea. There may be some overlapping actually of activity as far as hinterland is concerned with what we call in our language the long-haul transport. That means countries like Hungary or Czech Republic. But this is a relatively small part of the whole activity of both ports. So in that sense, these two ports are complementary. And getting back to what the Chinese are calling as their main initiative, BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, I would say that both ports, for different functions, lay along this Belt and Road Initiative axis. 7 years to accomplish these obligatory investments, according to the concession agreement has been signed and the share purchase agreement. But 2 of these 7 years are allocated to the maturity process and maturity period of these projects. We'll try to cut it to 6 months if possible, and that means that we'll save at least 1.5 to 2 years. Our plan is to accomplish these investments in 4.5 years, if possible. Having said that, we have set up a very strict investment committee that looks week by week the progress of this process. As far as the content of this obligatory investment is concerned, this is mainly the extension of the container terminal by 440 meters with a depth of -16.5. This will provide us a berthing place to accommodate what we call in our language a new Panamax vessel. That means a vessel with a capacity ranging between 10 and 14,000 TEUs. And the important thing behind that is that we will be in a position to serve mainliner services. That means services that come directly from East Asia to our area. And so far as you know, due to depth restrictions, the port is simply and mainly a feeder port. That will be actually alleviated in future through this main investment. On the other side, since we have Well, experience some difficulties with the existing the age and the state of the existing equipment. We have decided this year to invest in an additional almost 28 million to replace some of the obsolete old equipment in order to improve substantially the level of service to our clients, because this is strategic for the intermediate period between taking over the management of port and realizing the new investment. In order to have a successful freight center, you have to accomplish two things. First, the seller or the developer, if this is the state, to invest in the essential infrastructure, which is the infrastructure, the heavy infrastructure of rail stations and rail yards. This is the one thing. The second thing is to have actually a scale of the development that corresponds to the local market and to the markets that they are around and can be actually attracted. If these two prerequisites are met, then you can expect to have a success. Whether this will be fulfilled by the governance center or not is a matter that has to be seen. On our side, we are committed to develop a freight facility which will, first of all, be in line with our port activities, add value to the port activities and take value from the port activities, and at the same time corresponds to our network. We are in a good relationship with the region and the governor of the region, as well as with the municipality, as well as with the business and tourist partners, in order to produce such a product. We are on a good, I would say, track, but this will take time. Privatization of the airport of Thessaloniki through Fraport, along with the privatization of the port of Thessaloniki, makes a better, I would say, environment in that. On the other side, of course, the metro is gonna add a new urban transportation mean that it's very effective based on the experience not only of Athens but all other European big cities. But I think for sure this is an infrastructure item that will add a lot to the city. One of the interesting things in that is that back in 2000, when I was again here, we had about 75 up to 80 calls per year. That means one call per 4 days. Now the traffic is much less. It's almost nothing. I have the feeling that we can restore that. And we have so many assets, both in Thessaloniki, as well as in the neighboring area, that we can really consolidate. The Port of Thessaloniki is a port that is fully embedded in terms of location to the city of Thessaloniki. It's the old design, the old French design of having the port along the seaside, and it's quite similar to the old port of, not the Vieille Port, but the old port of Marseille. I would say that the relationship with the city and the local regional bodies, governing bodies, now is better than any time in the past. This is my feeling. Another important thing is that the pier where we're sitting now, it's an excellent example of having the city and the port being actually, how can I say, incorporated. I feel really very happy that this initiative of giving these restored old warehouses to the cultural entities of Thessaloniki was done back in 1999, where I was leading the port again. And I feel that this was a move that really became a successful example all over Europe, I would say. So this is the one part. The other part is that port and the new management and the new ownership of the port believes that having a strong relationship with the city and the financial and business entities of the area gives added value to both sides. And we're going to continue along this line. And coming back after 16 years to take over again the helm, as you said, of this port, which is something that emotionally has an effect on me. on a personal basis. But on the other side, it has a business effect. And this is the fact that we need to run a business, which personally I know well, but I will manage in a different context with different shareholders and with a different management team. By chance, our top leadership team in the port is now an international one. My deputy is a Portuguese guy coming from Terminal Link, our technical partner of the consortium and SECT, and the chief operating officer and director of container terminal is a French person. So this is an additional challenge. We have two challenges actually. The one is that we have an international team which has to consolidate its use and run the port effectively. And so far I would say that it is a success actually the way we have worked so far, almost 2 months we're here. And the second thing is that we have a consortium of shareholders that have different, I would say, origins and different activities. Our German partner is a financial investor. Our French, Chinese partner, who is Terminal Link, 51% is CMA-CGM and 49% is China Merchant Ports, is a global terminal operator. And Belterra is a strategic investor which belongs to the Ivan Savidis group. So this is a real case of a multitude of partners, a multitude actually of members of the management team that creates challenges, but at the same time is extremely interesting. I really believe in this sport, and that's why I'm here, not only as a business opportunity. I think that I will be very, very happy if I will close my term here, having the projects of the expansion of the port done, the area of the influence of the port, the hinterland area, to be expanded reasonably well according to our plans and according to our needs and the needs of the area. And third, which is the most important for me, is to leave behind leaders to lead the port in future.